Hey, welcome back to the channel for another video. If you're stopping by for the first time, please do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This is the first quarterly portfolio update video that I'm doing. I will be sharing with you how much I invested during the first quarter of 2022, the number of stocks that I bought, the value of my portfolio as at the end of the quarter, which was March the 31st, 2022. And I will finally show you how much dividend payments I received during this quarter. But before I continue, a quick disclaimer. The information that I'm sharing does not constitute financial advice. Before you invest in anything, please do your own research and make sure that you only invest in things that you understand. With that being said, I will dive right into my quarterly portfolio update. I will start with a quick recap of my December 2021 portfolio, so you can see the value of my portfolio and the number of stocks that I had before the beginning of the first quarter of 2022. On this screen, you can see that my total equity as of December the 31st, 2021 was $15,771.56. Out of this amount, $15,750.84 was the market value of my investments, and $20.72 was a cash amount. On the next screen, you can see my holdings. To date, I still have the same ETFs, 2 BlackRock ETFs, and the 2 Vanguard ETFs. The first Vanguard ETF is a VCN. This is an ETF that tracks the Canadian market. And as of December the 31st, 2021, I had 40 shares of VCN. And this was 10.86% of the market value of my portfolio. The second Vanguard ETF is a VFV. This is an S&P 500 index ETF. And I had 77 shares of VFV as of December the 31st, 2021. And this was 52.16% of the market value of my portfolio. The first BlackRock ETF is XEQT. This is an all-in-one equity ETF. It contains US equities, Canadian equities, developed market equities other than US and Canada, and emerging market equities. And I had 105 shares of XEQT as of December the 31st, 2021. And this was 18.43% of the market value of my portfolio. The second BlackRock ETF is XUU. This is a US total market ETF. And I had 64 shares of XUU as of December the 31st, 2021. This was 18.42% of the market value of my portfolio. I will now show you how much I invested during the first quarter of 2022 and the number of stocks that I bought. On this spreadsheet, you can see on column A, a list of my ETFs. On column B, the quantity of shares that I bought. On column C, the average cost per share. On column D, the total cost. And on column E, the percentage of amount invested. I will start with VCN. During the first quarter of 2022, I bought 4 shares of VCN. The average cost per share was $42.62. The total cost was $170.47. This is 3% of the total amount that I invested during the first quarter of 2022. Next, we have VFV. I bought 31 shares of VFV. The average cost per share was $99.89. The total cost was $3,096.67. And this is 52% of the amount that I invested. Next, we have XEQT. I bought 44 shares of XEQT. The average cost per share was $26.09. The total cost $1,147.81. And this is 19% of the amount that I invested. Finally, we have XUU. I bought 36 shares of XUU. The average cost per share was $41.94. The total cost was $1,509.71. And this is 25% of the total amount that I invested during the first quarter of 2022. In total, I bought 115 shares, all of the ETF combined. And the total amount that I invested during the first quarter of 2022 was $5,924.66. I will now take you back to my account to show you the number of stocks that I had and the value of my portfolio as at the end of the first quarter of 2022, which was March the 31st, 2022. On this screen, you can see my total equity as of March the 31st, 2022 was $21,157.90. Out of this amount, $21,001.86 was the market value of my investments, and $156.04 was a cash amount. On the next screen, you can see my holdings again. And as of March the 31st, 2022, I had 44 shares of VCN, which represents 9.19% of the market value of my portfolio, 108 shares of VFV, which represent 51.30% of the market value of my portfolio, 150 shares of XEQT, which represents 18.68% of the market value of my portfolio, 100 shares of XUU, which represents 20.09% of the market value of my portfolio. I will now show you how much I received in dividend payments from each of these ETFs for the first quarter of 2022. On this spreadsheet, you can see on column A, my ETFs are listed here. On column B, you have the quantity of shares that I had before the ex-dividend date. The ex-dividend date helps determine who between the buyer or the seller of a stock receive the next dividend payment. If you buy a stock before the ex-dividend date, you will receive the next dividend payment. However, if you buy a stock on or after the ex-dividend date, you will not receive the next dividend payment. It's going to be the seller who will receive the next dividend payment. To recap, before ex-dividend date, buyer receive the next dividend payment. On or after the ex-dividend date, seller receive the next dividend payment. On column C, you have the dividend amount per share. Column D, the total dividend amount. Column E, the percentage of dividend I received. Let's start with VCN again. I had 43 shares of VCN before the ex-dividend date. The dividend amount per share was 32 cents. The total dividend amount that I received was $13.74. And this represents 21% of the total amount of dividend that I received. Next, we have VFV. I had 108 shares of VFV before the ex-dividend date. The dividend amount per share was 24 cents. The total dividend amount was $25.90. And this represents 40% of the total amount of dividend that I received. I had 150 shares of XEQT before the ex-dividend date. The dividend amount per share was 8 cents. The total dividend amount that I received was $12.60. And this is 19% of the total amount of dividend that I received. And finally, I had 100 shares of XUU before the ex-dividend date. The dividend amount per share was 13 cents. The total dividend amount that I received was $12.90. And this represents 20% of the total amount of dividend that I received. In total, I received $65.14 in dividend payments for the first quarter of 2022. And I have already reinvested the entire amount to date. This brings us to the end of this video. Feel free to leave a comment below. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.